not every, but in most cases, there will be a moment. Sometimes people refer to it, most often people refer to it as a trigger moment, where something happens that makes us think that we need to do something as this person that we're going to become, called a buyer. It might be a mistake we've made. It might be something that we've broken. It might be an unpleasant experience that we had. It might be something we did where we thought, oh, that really, don't really want to do that again. That's the trigger moment. And what it does is it creates a sense in us that there's something that needs to be done. What then happens in the brain, and remember, we are dealing with very complicated things in human brains that involve millions of neurons and a large number of chemicals, some of which are hormones, which are fun. The next thing that happens is we don't really realize, but subconsciously we start to think about that moment, that trigger moment. And we subconsciously think about how we'd like to not repeat it. And over the course of time, we begin to crystallize the idea of what we want to do to not repeat it. And in a sort of graduated scale from black to white, we go from that kind of pre-contemplation subconscious stage into an active, right, okay, I'm actually going to put a bit of thought, proper thought into it. I'm going to sit down and look at my options. What am I going to do to not repeat that situation? And that's where we are actively contemplating. So, yeah, there's first that trigger stage, then there's that pre-contemplation, then there is that contemplation where we are looking at options before we effectively make a decision on what to do. And that decision making is the third stage where we get very logical. Because in that contemplation phase where we're looking at options, it's all quite comfortable, but there's sort of no looming commitment at that point. So it's a very emotionally buying point, contemplation, and an emotional purchase point. But the moment we start to go through the other part of this grayscale into the realization that we're going to need to make a commitment somewhere at some point, we kind of get quite logical. And we start looking for ways to justify what we've emotionally already decided that we want to do. And we end up with this little mini conflict in ourselves. You know, there's a devil on one shoulder, there's an angel on the other, and we have an argument with ourselves about, it's quite a lot of money, yes, but, or that's really cheap, what's wrong with it? You know, all these kind of conversations we have, they are logical versus emotional. And this is the decision-making point where we are looking to come to a resolution. We are looking to make a commitment to ourselves and maybe to others that we're going to do something. And of course, we're committing our time, we're committing ourselves, and we're committing our money to whatever that answer is. And that's the decision point. And then once we've done that, we take action. So those are the four stages: pre-contemplation, contemplation, decision-making effectively, and then taking action. Contemplation stage is emotional, pre-contemplation is subconscious, and that decision-making point is logical and justificational.